Hello, everybody. Scott McMeans with Action Coach SBO. Welcome to another episode of Legacy Leaders. I'm here today with Emily Berg. Emily Berg, wedding planning and events. She's got a really cool business, an interesting perspective on life because she has a great balance between what she does for work and how she balances her home life. So we're going to talk a little bit about that, along with some of the great things that happens when you run a successful business, the milestones that you meet in order to get to be your level of success. Emily's got a great story on that line as well. So without further ado, the camera and the microphone are yours, Emily. Give the audience a little introduction of who you are, how
hmm
you got here, and what's so special about Emily Berg, wedding planning and events.
Yeah, hi, I'm Emily. Um, I started doing this because my husband was a pastor for 18 years, and as he started officiating wedding ceremonies, especially couples who didn't have a lot of support, or had maybe never been in a wedding or not hadn't gone to very many weddings, just had no idea about like the logistics involved. And so I would step in and just say, well, hey, let me take care of that. No, you shouldn't be pressing play on Spotify on your phone right before you walk down the aisle. I can do that for you. And we had a friend who owns Head Trauma Entertainment, shout out to them, who was running the sound for one of these weddings and said, hey, you should do this. And at the time, I was a stay at home mom, had two, like, I think my kids were like 4 and 1 at the time. And I was like, I don't know if I can do anything right now. And he talked me into it, said he would handle all the business side of things because that was intimidating to me, and set me up to be their wedding coordinator. So I coordinated through them for a couple of years. And then right smack in the middle of the pandemic, thought I should do this on my own.
Yeah, perfect timing, Emily. Perfect
Right,
timing,
of
right?
course.
But that's part of the
Yeah,
perseverance we're talking about too, right? Because
yeah, absolutely.
everybody's thinking, oh my God, how could you do anything during the pandemic? But there was a lot of people that still wanted to get married during that time frame, and they had
Absolutely.
nowhere to go. And what I really love about the story and how you start this off
Mm-hmm.
is there was a market need
Mm-hmm.
and a willingness and passion on your side. Like, I know how to do that. I can help
Yeah.
people. And it
Yeah.
turns into this really good opportunity to say, there's a bunch of people that need this. I'm capable of it.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see what this turns out to be. And look at you how many years later, you're pretty successful doing it. So I
Yeah.
appreciate your willingness to be open and honest about your passion and
Mm-hmm.
interest, but it really falls into you're just a gentle heart that wanted to help people, right? You're seeing people struggle with, I have no idea how to put a wedding on, but I want to get married. How do I do this? And you kind of
Yeah.
stepped in and helped out, and now you've got a business out of it. So I think that's
Yeah.
pretty special. So I'm sorry, keep
Oh,
going
thanks.
because this is good.
Oh, you're fine. No, so started off on my own in 2021, offering the full range of planning services, and we also do events now. Um, Along the way, back then was sort of like the tail end of everyone. If you're thinking about wedding design, everyone was doing like blush and white. Every wedding was looking the same. The goal was for all weddings to look the same, and that's not really my jam.
Oh,
And I really felt like, um, if I put myself in clients' shoes at that time, and if I thought back to when I was planning my own wedding, um, it was I didn't it was hard to find someone to advocate for me when I wanted something different than what everyone else was doing.
yeah.
And if I didn't have the words to explain that myself, I didn't have somebody who could say, "Oh, you don't want a bouquet that's just a tight ball of roses. What you're looking for is organic. That's what you're describing to me." But I didn't have those words, and I didn't even have. I got married before Pinterest existed, and so I didn't even have like a place to find inspiration that was different than what everyone else was doing. So um, when I thought about like how I could best serve clients and what would make me different from others, is to really be a place where people could bring their whole self to the wedding planning process and not say, well, here's this part of me that's kind of weird, but that doesn't fit in what a wedding is supposed to be. So that can't be part of it. I have to like change who I am to be now like the bride version of myself. Um,
Right.
and so that's not, I'm trying to do the opposite of that and say, okay, so you're kind of weird. Actually, everybody's kind of weird. How can we translate that into an event that's still beautiful and runs really smoothly and is a great time for everybody, but really shows who you are as a couple through the event
Yeah.
itself? And that's really fun because it means that no wedding and no event, when we work with other types of clients, nothing is the same. And I would get so bored if everything was the same. So that keeps it interesting for me, and it really, I think, serves people who aren't wanting to um, change who they are just because they're getting married.
Yeah, I think what you made comment to is, you're an advocate for being different and you want somebody to bring their whole self to the wedding. So the question
Mm-hmm.
has to be asked, traditionally, and you made the comment earlier, it has to be white, it
Mm-hmm.
has to be this, then. Not that you need to name names, but what is the most unique wedding that, or unique element of a wedding that somebody's ever asked you to
Mm-hmm.
do and you fully supported them because it made sense?
Such a good question. And it's so hard to choose. I should have thought about this before.
I didn't mean to put, I just think it's because your style is so different, but
Yeah,
yet all the weddings are beautiful. But they're
yeah.
beautiful in their own way. And that's what I think is
Mm-hmm.
interesting about, and again, what I love to do is draw parallels between what you do and the actual business world. And
Mm-hmm.
every business is beautiful. Every business has the chance
Yeah.
to be successful and be a representation of the owner. And you have a really interesting
Mm-hmm.
representation is you're not cookie cutter, but yet
Yeah.
you'll make it beautiful based on the traditional look and feel. But then there's always elements that make it look and feel exactly what the wedding wants it to be. And that's the bride and groom
Yeah.
have figured it out. This is what they want. I think that's brilliant,
Yeah.
honestly.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
So there's
It's
got
been
to be
really
something
fun.
that was there a Star Wars wedding or
Yeah. Yeah.
a
Yeah.
Disney wedding, thing like that, right? There's got to be something.
Yeah. Absolutely. I really enjoy, and this is maybe less noticeable to guests, but really important to couples usually. And then I'll get to a more fun example. But I really enjoy when couples bring, whether they have different cultural backgrounds or whether they are an interfaith couple, and they have traditions that are meaningful to each of them, and really blending those
Yeah.
a lot in the ceremony, but throughout the rest of the wedding as well. So because I don't like to say that we're non-traditional as in like throw it all out
I
because
didn't
the
mean to make,
traditions, you know what I
yeah.
mean? No, you're fine. But I think, some people that is their thing and that's fine. But I think throughout history, traditions are really important to cultures because it like grounds us with where we come from. And so, but at the same time, some of them are, outdated and not great ways. So
Sure.
yeah, I think it's really fun to say, okay, what are the traditions that are meaningful to you, and how can we incorporate those, or modernize them, or get rid of some, keep other elements. That's really fun. So
Yeah. I like
I
the idea
really
you
love that
I like
blend.
what you said about cultural backgrounds or religious, what would
Mm-hmm.
be considered conflicting
Mm-hmm.
ideologies, and say, let's blend these into making it a beautiful ceremony that you both enjoy
Absolutely.
because this is your union, not anybody else's. And I think
Yeah,
that's what makes it so
exactly.
unique in my mind is, like
Mm-hmm.
I said, all businesses have this possibility of being amazing, but yet everybody wants to be cookie cutter. And I think the best way to
Mm-hmm.
approach things, as you have with your clientele, is what do you want to make yourself
Mm-hmm.
so unique? What do you
Yeah.
want your ceremony to be that it'll be memorable? It'll be yours and yours only. And then everybody
Yeah.
that's here as a guest that's kind of honoring you getting married, what can
Mm-hmm.
they enjoy as this whole thing goes down? So it's a really nice blend of things.
Exactly.
And I think it's a really cool business to be in because you're
Yeah.
actually serving people in a way that
Mm-hmm.
others may not do. And that's why I think it's interesting because I want you to talk about what makes
Mm-hmm.
your wedding planning services different than everybody else. And we had a great conversation
Mm-hmm.
about it, which is what I wanted to
Yeah.
do. As you built this business, Emily, how do you
Mm-hmm.
say to those watching, the challenges that you face are difficult, but you get through them? So,
Mm-hmm.
what's a big challenge that you've come across that you
Yeah.
really had to work on, and now that you've overcome it,
Mm-hmm.
oh my God, I can't believe I even worried about that. It was such a non-thing, but oh my God. So, is there something that comes to mind?
Yeah. Um, I think the first one that I just really had to get over was the fact that I have, or I had no business background at all.
Hmm.
I was a high school English teacher before I had kids, which serves me well as a wedding planner because I'm very comfortable telling people what to do. But I had no idea about anything. Like I didn't know what a contract should say. Like how do people pay me? Can that just go into my personal bank account? Oh, nope, it doesn't. How do I even open a business checking account? Like I knew nothing.
Yeah.
And so that I really needed to get over, like mentally and emotionally for myself, but then also, find a way to learn those things and learn those skills. And it turns out I actually really love the business side. Who knew?
Who
Um,
knew?
who knew?
Who knew? But I
So,
think here's a good question for you, Emily. Is it you love it because it's something that's innate, like you get it, it's part of you, or do you love it because it gives you the ability to continue doing what you love to do?
oh, that's a really good question. I think both.
Okay.
I think and even if I look back at my time teaching, I really, really loved systems. Like I loved building curriculum and saying, okay, I want to take kids from this point at the beginning of the year to this point at the end of the year. And how do we get there? And like creating that
Yeah.
map. And so I really love the business systems side of things, like how we have like a custom built wedding planning portal online. And so that's been really fun to say, like, okay, my particular couples, what is the planning process that we're going to take them through that is different than others? So maybe other tools don't serve us as well. So let's make our own. Yeah. So
No, it's
I
brilliant
think it's both. Yeah.
because I'm thinking about this and it's like, okay,
Mm-hmm.
you take a lesson plan mentality to planning a wedding,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
Right, that's the system because you enjoy
Mm-hmm.
systems, which is really good. But you've taken, all right, how am I going to take these kids from this to here? And now you're saying, how am I
Mm-hmm.
going to take these two adults that want to get married to go from here to here? Okay, build a
Yeah,
plan and work
absolutely.
it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And now that you've done it once, twice, 15 times a year, you're like, oh, this
Mm-hmm.
is old hat. I know how to do this. Now it becomes customer service, customer focus, and now you're
Mm-hmm.
adding
Yep.
in your little elements that make you separate than everybody else. And that's
Mm-hmm.
the iteration and growth, maturation of a business is whatever you started off as is something you love to do, and there's passion, there's drive. And again, you found
Mm-hmm.
that
Yeah.
market need that you love to fill. And now I really found myself a separation thing, which is I make them unique. I bring different thoughts and ideas together. And now this really cool wedding just unfolds in front of people. And it's a
Mm-hmm.
really cool gift because you've taken this idea, the system, and now you approach it with, I make everybody happy. I just love it. I think
Yeah.
it's great.
Yeah. It's so fun. It's such a
Well,
fun job. I love
it's a good thing for
it.
people to recognize too, is your original
Mm-hmm.
thought was the biggest challenge I had was absolutely no business background.
Mm-hmm.
I taught, like I was an English teacher. How do I become an English teacher that is now a business owner and make this thing work?
Right.
And you
Yeah.
found a way because you wanted to follow that passion, that need, that
Mm-hmm.
opportunity to help and serve. I think that is why you found out the way the business side works.
Yeah.
And once you figure it out, it's good to hear that you say it's a little bit of both, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, there's got to be some lessons that you've learned. You've got a staff of people. You
Mm-hmm.
serve countless different personalities, whether they're on your team
Mm-hmm.
or people you're trying to serve. What is a
Yeah.
big lesson that I think, or that you think people should learn from you?
Mm-hmm.
Because there's got to be, oh, I can only imagine the stories you could tell because of all the different personalities, right? So,
Yeah.
what's a big lesson? I know we want to keep out the names to protect the innocent or guilty, but
Absolutely.
let's, if you can, talk to me a little bit about like a really good
Mm-hmm.
lesson, like that comes out of being a business owner.
Yeah. Let's think about that. I think it took me a little while to like learn my own voice,
Yeah.
and whether that's with clients or on social media, which is like I'm not young, so it's like not my favorite thing. But just like to be comfortable, it's sort of ironic as I'm like helping other people be themselves and give them the space to do that. It's easy for me to do that for others, but hard to do for myself sometimes.
Yeah.
And so I remember when I was kind of at this crossroads in like, okay, what is this business going to be? Are we going to be like generic and try to serve all the people in all the ways? Or are we going to really lean into, if you would call yourself a quirky couple, we are the ones for you. And I have a good friend who has owned his own business for like a really long time. And my husband was like, you should just call him and see if he either needs to like ask him which way you need to go. And he, bless his heart, like spent like 2 hours on the phone with me and is like, what are you so afraid of? Like asking me really good questions about,
Hmm.
why, what was holding me back from just going with what I felt like was true to who I am and what people needed, and just really process those things with me. And I was so thankful, A, that he was willing to do that, and B, that I actually asked, because I don't love asking for help. So there's a lesson: ask for help.
Yeah.
Everyone needs help. It's fine. So yeah, just learning to be confident in what I really knew was what we should do and what I had to offer, rather than what I saw other people doing. Um, it was hard and it was really scary, but totally worth it. Because I don't
Okay.
think I would have stuck with this if it was just what I thought other people thought I should be doing, or what maybe made sense on paper.
This,
Um, I would, yeah.
Emily, I love this lesson because I want people to
Mm-hmm.
realize if you try to make everybody happy, you make nobody happy, right?
Yep.
If you are really good at something, why are you trying to stretch yourself into everybody else and do
Yeah.
things that other people won't recognize? And
Yeah.
it's okay to recognize and say, I'm not for everybody, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
This is a lesson that I think a lot of people need to learn. I do this a lot with my clientele when I say to them,
Mm-hmm.
you're in a room filled with 100 people. You know you can help all 100 of those people,
Yeah.
right? But only 80 of those, or 20% of those people are going to want to come talk to you and figure out whether or not you can or
Mm-hmm.
cannot help them. And it ends up being 15 will actually want you to help because they're afraid,
Mm-hmm.
right? And you want to help them because they want to be a part of you because they've raised their hand to learn. But you got to realize there's 80 people in that room that have no interest in being a part of what you do and how well you
Yep.
do it. You could do an amazing job for them, but for some reason they
Mm-hmm.
just don't want to be a part of your world. It's okay to not
Yeah.
allow those 80 people to bother you. Focus on
Mm-hmm.
the 20 or the 15 that really want your attention because they're going to
Yep.
really sap up. They're going to soak in what you're offering them because they truly value it. So I think
Yeah.
it's interesting that you say the biggest lesson is finding your own voice. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm interested to learn from you. Why is it that you're so afraid to be your own voice when you advocate for everybody
Mm-hmm.
else? Because one of your things is I advocate for people that want difference. And now
Yeah.
you're saying it took me a while to find my voice. Now that you found your voice, I don't want to say anything bad, but now that you
Yeah.
found your own voice, how silly do you feel years ago not using it louder?
Oh, absolutely. It's really funny. I think the way you're asking that is so interesting. I think looking back, this like that conversation and like making that choice kind of set
Hmm.
off so much growth, both for my business and as a business owner, but for me personally, to like think through those things of like, why am I so afraid of this? And like, why does this feel so risky? Part of it was financially. Um, a lot of people, when they start an entrepreneurship journey, have like worked a corporate job and saved up a bunch of money. I was quitting my job as a stay-at-home mom, which was not a lucrative career, in case you're wondering. So there was like nothing. So that was, part of it was, am I going to leave money on the table that could help provide for my family by narrowing my focus? So I know part of it was that, but I think also, so this is very specific to my life, but I grew up as a third culture kid. I don't know if you're familiar with that concept. So my parents, we lived in Eastern Europe when I was growing up in elementary school, and there's lots of gifts that come with growing up that way. You're able to adapt and like make yourself at home in any situation. You can talk to anybody, you can find things in common with anybody because that's what you're doing all the time. Like I always say, my elementary school is like a like a baby UN. Like
Wow. Okay.
we were just like kids from countries all over the world represented in a class of like 15 people. And so you're just like finding things in common with people at all times. And so you're great at adapting, but also you're always like the flip side of that is always figuring out who should I be in this setting
Hmm.
because you're constantly in new settings. And so it really I think some of that fear was like, this is a new thing I've never done before. I don't have a frame of reference for who I'm supposed to be in this business owner space. Like it even took me a really long time to call myself a business owner, even though legally I was. It was really hard for me to say that. So I think some of it was like, I don't know who I am in this setting. I have this really strong feeling of what I can bring to it, but what does that look like? And it just felt super risky. Um, so yeah, it feels in hindsight, it feels like such a small hurdle to jump over,
Hmm.
you know. But at that moment, it felt gigantic and felt like this huge thing in my way.
I 100% agree that it feels gigantic. And I think a lot of
Mm-hmm.
people, when they're in that stage of do I or do I not want to become a business owner? Do I want to take this risk? Do I want to jump off this cliff? And they overthink it and overanalyze it to a point
Yeah,
where no matter what decision they make, they're going to be agonized over it, right?
yeah,
I understand this because I went through the same thing starting this. And it
mm-hmm.
comes down to this. The fear, the anxiety, the risk is all bundled up inside of you, and all you have to
Mm-hmm.
do is take one step.
Yep,
Take one step forward, and then you realize, oh, that wasn't so bad. And before you know it, you're
yeah,
taking thousands of steps and you're so far away from where you started. And every
yeah,
step is a learning experience. Every step is an opportunity to get better. That's why I think you being a part of the show is very helpful for other people to realize, okay, all I have to do is take one step, just like Emily did.
yeah,
I quit my stay-at-home mom job and I'm going to start a business. And I
yeah,
think it's important for people to realize you don't have to be perfect. You just have to be
mm-hmm.
passionate. You don't have to
Yeah,
be amazing. You just have to be good at wanting to do something for other people. And that's why your business
yeah,
ends up being successful, right? Because you're
yeah,
serving people. Um,
mm-hmm.
find it interesting how many business owners I get a chance to run across that are in a service industry and all they are is upset and angry with their customers. Like, then why are you in business if you're so angry? Doesn't make
Right.
any sense to me. You should
Yeah,
have a business that makes you happy. And that's what
mm-hmm.
this is all about is how do we become happier business people? How do we
Yeah,
become happier at what we do to make our customers happy? Because at the end of the
yeah,
day, whatever you're doing in your business, whether you're making a widget or you're serving somebody an amazing event, you're trying
mm-hmm.
your very best to make other people happy. And that's what
Yeah,
business is all about, at least the way I look at it,
absolutely,
right? So we've
absolutely.
got a number of different things on the table here. I want to ask you a question. I'm going to throw
Yeah.
you in a time machine, send you back, and you're going to find an 18-year-old Emily,
Oh
and
man.
you're going to sit on a park bench for a conversation. What do you talk about with an
Mm.
18-year-old Emily?
Oh man. Um, Probably tell her, Emily, you have ADHD. Just admit it and go to therapy and take medication.
The
Don't
sooner the
wait so
better, right?
long. The sooner the better. Don't wait so long. Um, wow. I think I loved being a teacher and I loved the things that I learned about that. I think though that this what I do now, I always loved design. I loved um, the planning aspect of things. I think I would just tell her to lean into that. I don't know if I'd tell her to not go into education because that I really felt like that's how I was going to change the world, and I have no regrets about doing that. But I think I would tell her like, hey, this thing that you feel like is sort of silly and unimportant actually has some weight to it and brings like I really feel like life can be hard, and so we
Mhm.
need big, beautiful celebrations to counteract the like really crappy times of life. And so I think I would tell her like, hey, you do this for fun and for friends, like that is more important than you think it is, and don't talk yourself out of that being an important contribution to the world.
I
So I
like
think
that.
that's, yeah.
No, it's a good grounding point
Hmm.
is life is hard and you should be able to take the big celebrations and make them wonderful.
Hmm. Yeah.
And that's exactly what you guys do, right?
Yeah.
That's the
Yeah.
key is you're transitioning people away from um whatever they dealt with before the wedding, they're there and now they
Hmm.
get a chance to really enjoy that
Yeah.
event, that ceremony,
Yeah.
that expression, right? They get a chance to contribute. I think it's awesome.
Hmm.
It's interesting. Everybody has the same thought process, and yeah, I can see the
Hmm.
wheels spinning when their eyes are up and they're trying to think, what exactly would I say to myself when I'm 18? Oh my gosh, right?
Yeah.
And those people that have a chance to watch my series, it's the one question I ask everybody, and
Hmm.
I get the same reaction. Oh my God, what a great question. And then they start thinking, and to a person, they all say it very differently. Like we were talking about
Hmm.
before, everything is unique, but they all say relatively the same thing. Oh my God, follow your passion. There's so much
Hmm.
time that you're going to waste doing things that'll distract you from what you're really good at.
Yeah.
Don't necessarily ignore the other things, but follow what you really
Hmm.
want to do because that's what's going to make you the happiest. And I'm glad you shared that with us today. This has been
Yeah.
great. Any
Thanks.
final words? Any thoughts?
Oh man. I think I just, one of the things I love the most about what I do is getting to, like, I see people come to me, whether it's a couple getting married or someone who's planning, a more business focused or like corporate event, and they have like this small idea that they're like, is this weird? Is this stupid? And I just love being able to say, maybe it's a little weird, but it's not stupid. That's a great idea. Let's talk about how we can make that happen, how we can make it work. And so I guess I would just say, like, our culture has put so much emphasis on making ourselves acceptable to other people.
Yep.
And like we waste so much time and energy doing that. Like, just don't, even if you just cut the energy in half that you're using to try to make yourself acceptable to other people, and make your ideas fit what you think other people will think are good ideas. Like, just calm it down a little bit. Just
Yeah.
bring what you have to the table, and see what happens. It's great.
I love be yourself and let
Yeah.
let your personal flag fly because
Yeah.
you're a unique individual and your ideas and
Hmm.
your passions towards something are genuine.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Hmm.
it's your day to shine. Let's shine the brightest light we can on it. I love it. Thank you so
Absolutely.
much for
Yeah.
being here.
Yeah.
I
Thanks
want
for
to,
having me.
oh my God, anybody that's looking to get in touch, all your information will be down below.
Hmm.
And by all means, get in touch with Emily for your next wedding or really cool event because she's going to make it absolutely unique for you. Thanks, Emily. Appreciate it. We'll talk
Thanks
soon.
so much. All right. Sounds good.